The Dow was up 130 points. The S&P and the NASDAQ more than that, percentage-wise at least. NASDAQ 1.5%. As Doug Flynn joins us, certified financial planner, co-founder Flynn Zito Capital Management. He was here in studio with us yesterday. He's back in his office today. Was everybody nice to you, Doug? Did you enjoy your time?
Oh my God, your team is fantastic. It was great to be there, so I really enjoyed it. Thank you very much for having me.
That's exactly what they're telling you to say in your ear right now. So Jay Powell, the Fed Chairman, was back. I think he was on the Senate side today. Yesterday, he testified on Capitol Hill, and he was back there today. And I guess whatever he said was enough to drive the markets again a little bit higher, right?
I think it was a bit that. I also think it was Europe came out and was basically saying, although they're not lowering right now, they're very likely to lower very soon. And then right after that is probably going to be us. And when that happens, then they're, and they did say that they aren't far from doing it. So that's some good news. That definitely drove the market. The S&P and the NASDAQ hit all-time highs. So good news.
It's funny that when you were in yesterday, I said, I don't talk too much about politics. And then I asked you about politics. And I'm going to do it for a second day in a row because of the State of the Union being tonight. I think it's an interesting time to talk about it. President Biden, I think we'll talk about in a second, specifics of what he might say in terms of taxes, and it needs to be a populist agenda, is how everybody keeps phrasing it, that he'll outline, right? But he's getting attacked from his left in a number of ways, and the economics is one of those ways. Bernie Sanders, right, who's obviously on just about everybody's left, he talked about this disconnect between the numbers and what people are feeling, right? And a lot of people are talking about that. But here's what he said. I want to listen to Bernie Sanders, and then we'll come back and talk about this and how it affects everything in the economy. Take a listen.
Sure.
But I think what the president has got to recognize is that there are a lot of people who are hurting out there. People going to the grocery store, can't afford food, can't afford to fill up their gas tanks, working incredible hours, having a hard time taking care of their kids or their parents.
I mean, that's true, right? I mean, that's what people will tell you. That's in the polls. Even though you and I come on here most days you're on, it's some kind of an economic number that shows that things are either getting better or continue to be pretty good.
Yes, and well, first of all, you think about when you see the markets doing well and that creates some wealth effect for people. It is only the people who have money invested in the markets that are really participating in that. And so, about half of the people in the United States, that doesn't really help. The number that's telling to me from the recent polls is that 4 out of 5 people in the United States are dissatisfied with the way things are going. So, and a lot of those people are Democrats. And what that tells you is exactly this. There are people hurting. There was a large bump in inflation, which caused prices to jump. And even though that might be coming down, the increases are coming down, that big move was after a period of really no movement on inflation. So people really felt that. And I think that's where people are really hurting. Even though the job market is pretty good and the numbers all around are pretty good, I think people are definitely feeling in the areas that aren't participating in the home effect and the wealth effect from the markets.
Yeah, we saw that. We flashed up the CBS poll, 39%. I mean, that's not a good, the president's approval rating overall is not good, but certainly that tracks with the economy, which is obviously a big issue for a lot of people. Now, specifics tonight, I think we'll hear from what we're being led to believe, a lot of what we've been hearing from the president, some of these issues. Corporate taxes is one. This whole idea about junk fees is another. But I could put up this Washington Post headline on taxes that Biden will ban deductions for firms paying executives more than $1 million. That's one thing to watch. There it is from the Washington Post. So, on taxes, it's going to be this fair share argument that we want to go out after, people that are making a lot of money. People like you, Doug, is what I'm trying to say. I'm looking for a way to say it. They're coming after you again.
I don't run a company that pays all my executives more than $1 million and won't be able to write that off. So, but
we can hope.
Look, the populist issue is there. They're going to go after corporations, no question about it. The big thing about the State of the Union is that in order for any of this stuff to pass, the Democrats would have to win majorities in both the House and Senate. So a lot of this is just going to be talk and trying to gin up the base. I also noticed that they're going to talk a lot about shrinkflation, and that, of course, is not raising prices, but shrinking the size of the packages and what you get. Right. And to me, every time I hear that, I think the people that are advising him are foolish because this president has benefited from shrinkflation. And what I mean by that is if they don't allow companies to shrink, what that means is that inflation, the prices are going to go up even more. The inflation picture would be even worse than what we have if they didn't shrink some of that. And I'm not a fan of shrinkflation, but I'm just saying, why are they pounding the drum on things that just translates into I did an even worse job. Inflation is actually probably worse than it looks like because some companies shrunk their packaging instead of raising their prices.
That is,
I don't know how much this is going to play.
Yeah, former President Trump, he did I guess they call it a pre-buttal, but he was on earlier today and he talked about that point as well a little bit, the whole shrinkflation idea. Wasn't a fan of it either, I don't think. Doug, thank you very much. Good analysis of all this. So we'll watch tonight, and that gives you an idea of what to look for in the State of the Union when it comes to the economy. In a moment, the